And I would like to say that the floor in the drama room has now been repaired, so it's all been fixed.
I'd now like to invite Yasmine Biady, our head girl, to the lectern for the final time.
Sorry, I have to say this joke before I start. I just itching. It gives me great pleasure to present this final speech to you. I still have it. You and I are not very different from this present. Just as this present is unique, you two are unique. Just as this present is gifted, you two are gifted. In short, all of us have something unique about us that makes us just as gifted. Now, if I were to ask each of you right this second to tell me one thing that makes you gifted, what would you say? Now, it has taken me over 6 years to realize that the answer to this simple question can be often difficult to find. Because sometimes, curiously, we each have a cruel way of simply observing our boxes, scrutinizing, if you will, simply based on its wrapping, and in one swift action, throwing it away, without even taking the time to find out what was inside. And when you treat those special parts of yourself as trash, it can be very difficult to feel gifted. So instead, I ask all of you to choose to, from this day forward, seize your potential and have the courage to appreciate the gifts you already have. After all, there's no point in wrapping a present if you don't get to see what's inside. Good evening, friends, family, distinguished guests, and my fellow gifts. Well, we did it. We got through 6 years of climbing the Bridget Shelley stairs, 6 years of munching down on healthy cookies from the cafeteria, or canteen, sorry, or cafeteria. But most importantly, 6 years of commitment, dedication, and hard work. Now, like a present, this took many different forms over the years, some taking longer to unwrap than others. Whether it was staying back on a Thursday afternoon to coach the Year 7 netball team, to memorise that one quote from The Tempest, or finally mastering Demol's serum. In any case, I know that I'm definitely not the first to say that I have never met a more resilient group of women as I see standing or sitting before me today. You are all the product of faith, hope, love, and service, and together you've managed to remind me and every single person in this room what it truly means to be a decent human being. No words can express, no act of gratitude can relay, no gift can represent what love and support you have meant to me. Please accept this highly metaphoric affirmation, and you know how much I love my metaphors, as a heartfelt appreciation for everything you are and everything you continue to inspire upon your community. But much like seeds need constant tending by a gardener, these beautiful flowers you see sitting before you today have an immaculate network of support within their roots. To the teachers, thank you for your countless hours you have put into making our high school experience memorable. Your efforts certainly do not go unnoticed, and we wish there was a greater way to show our appreciation for you. You've all inspired us to be women without fear, and we've learnt more in your lessons than just equations and analysis. You've opened our eyes to what we could do and who we can be, and for that we are eternally grateful. Thank you. Like candles, you have each consumed yourself in order to brighten our lives. So in return, we promise to pass on this same light. I would especially like to thank Mrs. Rowland, Miss Sana, Mrs. Ferrugia, Mrs. Donnelly, Mrs. Thomas, Mrs. Wood, Mr. Mason, Mrs. Vanderpeer, and Mr. Walsh. Like a rapper has their hype men or hype women, we have our Mercy crew. Thank you for your unconditional love, support, and tendency to always go that extra mile for us. Your compassion has not gone unnoticed. Thank you for your light. Although you're not with us tonight, Mama Rowland, you've been the glistening rose in the field of thorns that is the HSC. Thank you for your light as well. To our friends and family, both here today and those who unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. Thank you, as my dad would so promptly put, for always encouraging us to overcome, adapt, and improvise in any situation that we may come across. You've all sacrificed a lot in your lives so that we wouldn't have to sacrifice anything in ours. Whether it was the way you comforted us after a not so successful exam, or the way in which your hugs reminded us each day that we were perfect so long as we tried our hardest. You have been there day after day to make sure every struggle and pain was made to our advantage. We promise to do our future generations justice as you did for us. Thank you for being the gifts that kept on giving. Now, traditionally, this speech has been reserved for the head girl. However, I'm sure everyone in this room will agree with me when I say that the nature of Gabby and my leadership over the past years has been anything but. It is for this same reason that I stand before you today feeling slightly out of tune, as I unfortunately don't have my partner in crime by my side today, as I always do. For the past 6 years, Gabby has been my most treasured gift of all. Gabby has crafted a life of rich meaning and possibility by fueling her words and actions with purpose and tending to everybody's care. Gabby leads a life that means something to her and, more importantly, to the world. Her life is a vibrant, pristinely cut mosaic of long, full and meaningful moments. And like a growing mosaic, she sparkles and shines in the light, and even more so in the darkness. Gabby, thank you for constantly reminding me each day that I am braver than I believe, stronger than I seem, smarter than I think, and twice as beautiful as I imagined. I will love you forever. Thank you for taking this journey with me. I walk in the gates each day and am greeted by the same warm smile from any girl that manages to catch my eye, and a high five from a teacher who had now only understood a punchline to the joke I said at last week's assembly. No matter how many times I walk through that gate or how stressed the HSC has gotten me feeling, I know that as a Mercy girl, I am home as soon as I put on my blazer. There is something special about being a Mercy girl. Perhaps it's the community, perhaps it's the values that come along with it. All I know is that as a result, I now wear confidence and grace as a leather jacket and possess a peace that is beyond understanding. So much so that I now know that I, and by the looks of it, the rest of my Mercy sisters, are ready to take this next step into the unknowable future. We're ready, girls. Now, seeing as this is the last time we're all together before Christmas, before I conclude, I felt that it was only fitting that I share with each of you my Christmas wish list. It's a list that may take a few years to fulfill, but hey, at least we'll have something to talk about at our reunion. First on the list, that you all realise that dreams can change. Think about it. If we or even our parents or teachers hadn't changed their minds as they developed, the world would be riddled with ninjas and princesses. And I don't know about you, but I think I've seen enough Elsas and Annas to last a lifetime. So just know that if you don't exactly know where your life is headed, that is okay. Secondly, that you realise that there's a difference between gifts and choices. Intelligence is a gift, however mercy and compassion are both choices. It is easy to receive gifts, but even harder to make the choice to pass them forward. Number 3, become friends with the unexpected. As much as you want to plan your life, it often has a way of surprising you with unexpected things that will often make you happier than you originally planned. And our grade is quite familiar with the unexpected. Whether it is the fire alarm going off in this very room during the trial examinations, or witnessing Mr. Mason and Mr. Turl's lip sync performance during the meeting. Now that's what I call unexpected. Number 4, your mind is more malleable than you think. Now, I'm sure you've all heard the analogy of the cup half full, as Mr. Walsh also talked about in his address. So much like this cup, we all came to OLMC with mostly an empty head. Well, mostly an empty head. Well, during the course of six or so years of Mercy education, what has happened, if my science will prove me right, is that information of various forms has been inserted into our heads. Information has been inserted to our heads. So now, if we use that information correctly, chances are we will become more effective members of society and in turn more successful. But if we don't, we may as well be walking around with an empty head. Number 5, look within yourself for the change you seek and need. Much like a gardener doesn't ask other gardeners to plant seeds in their own field, don't look to others around you to read your mind and create your own happiness. Look inside yourself. You are more than the marks that you achieve and more than the positions that you will hold in the future. You are something more beautiful entirely. You are something more beautiful entirely. Thank you, beautiful girls, for the most fulfilling, memorable, and loving years of my life so far. No matter where your life takes you, whether you plan to become an engineer or a librarian, a colour consultant or a nail polish namer, a bingo manager or a veterinary acupuncturist, wherever you take your key, just remember that behind you lay all the gifts you will ever need. Girls, if you're the future, from my position, the future looks pretty good.
I think we need to give Yasmine another big round of applause. Good evening. We are now going to commence the presentation of graduation certificates, medals, and certificates of achievement. These will be read by the girls' pastoral teachers, but before we actually do that, we have a number of Year 11 accelerated students